Today what I want to talk about is flow. I'm going to breeze past this. It's not too long, but flow. The reason why I wanted to talk about flow is because it was pretty cool when we were out there on the lake day, like when we were doing the surfing and everything. I could start to see like how this was starting to play out while we were surfing. You hear about it all the time that like sports players or especially people that do, I'm pretty sure when you guys are doing parachuting, maybe not anymore, Jeff, because you've done it so many times, but when you're doing like the gliding stuff, bro, I'm sure you get into some type of flow state, right? But like when you're doing that, like you're just super into the zone and you're just calculated on everything that you're doing and you're just flying off of instinct, I would say, right? Time just starts to go so quick. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever, like for me, I remember when me and my brothers, we used to play like basketball or even video games. You can get into flow state when you're playing video games. You're playing video games and then out of nowhere, boom, 5 hours just went by. It's like, what the hell just happened? Where did that time go? But it's because you're in that flow state where time just goes away. And so it's crazy when you guys told me like I did that for like 5 minutes. I literally thought it was like 15 seconds. But it's because time is just moving a little bit differently because you're so zoned in, you're so present and focused on what you're doing. And so what is flow, right? The word comes from overflowing with joy. It creates a feeling of joy when you feel and perform your best. So that's where the word flow stems from. It was, I forgot the guy's name, but it was some physiologist, or not a physiologist, I'm sorry, a psychologist. And he said that flow, it comes from overflowing with joy. When he started talking to all these people, I wish I remembered his name, damn it. But he started to talk to all these people and he asked them like, when are you the happiest? When are you performing the best? And they started to describe what he calls flow state. And that's when you have a feeling, an overflowing feeling of joy and you're feeling like you're performing your best. Flow is a mental state of operation where a person performing activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, also known as being in the zone. Stephen Kotler. So flow is a state peak of performance. That's when I'm operating at my best. They did a 10-year study on flow and productivity, and they found that the top executives tend to be 500% more productive when they're in flow states. And so who would want to be 500% more productive when they're working? All of us, right? Okay, so how do we take advantage of flow? How do we make sure that I'm operating at peak performance when I'm working? And so what does flow feel like? So it feels like we are propelled forward. So we don't need motivation. We don't need something to motivate us to keep us going. It just feels like we're in the zone and we just want to keep moving forward. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Time flies by. We talked about that. Intuition is turned on. So I'm not really thinking. I'm not really using my conscious mind so much. I'm actually more so using my subconscious. I'm just operating based off of intuition. So like on the doors, like sometimes like when I'm speaking to people, if I'm in the flow state and I'm zoned in, I can tell just by how they respond to me with their facial expression, their tone, and their words. I know exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. I'm now not operating off of me really trying to think. Now I'm more just using my subconscious mind to read and adapt to the situation, and I'm using the intuition that I have inside of me. Right? Another one, the reason why I put up the feeling, the thing of surfing is like surfers, they're constantly like adjusting to the wave. They're always adjusting to the wave, and that all comes down from their intuition, from how they've done it before in the past. That's not coming from their conscious mind, it's coming from the subconscious mind because they know what to do. They already know how to do it. The body knows how to do it better than the brain does, right? Muscle memory, intuition. My body is my subconscious mind. So frowning is paralyzed. I thought this was pretty funny, but have you ever, Diana calls it her RBF. Have you guys heard of that before? Yeah, right? And so what happens is the reason why people have that face is because usually when you're just, like exactly what Christian's doing right now, when you're thinking, when you're using your conscious mind, you're usually frowning. And so what happens is that when you get into flow state, that frowning actually goes away because you're no longer actually just focusing on the concentrated thought. You're now just using your program to kind of get you there. And so flow is a state of relaxed, right? When I'm relaxed, I'm calm, everything's easy and everything's flowing very smoothly. It seems like every action, every decision seems to flow effortlessly and seamlessly. It consumes whatever you're doing. It consumes your attention, and you're like totally absorbed in that thing. You're so focused on the task at hand or what you were doing that everything else disappears. Tunnel vision. When you create flow, it's usually on a one task. It's on a singular task that you're doing. And so it could be like cooking, right? Or it could be prepping food or whatever it is. But it's that one singular task where I get into that flow state where time just disappears and I'm just completely focused on this one thing right here. And so there's nothing else that matters to me. There's nothing else that I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about all the problems. I'm not thinking about all this stuff. I'm literally just thinking about this one singular task. And I'm operating fully from intuition. I'm not really, yeah, from muscle memory. I'm not really thinking about what I have to do. It's just coming in, it's just flowing through me naturally. And because I'm moving and progressing towards my goals and I'm doing better and I'm seeing progress, I feel good about what I'm doing. Dopamine starts to release. And so that's why too, like everyone was having such a good time at the lake day, because we're doing something that's challenging and we're so focused on like, how do I get this? How do I accomplish this? And then you do it, you stand up a little bit on the waveboard and then you, boom, you create like that dopamine kick. And so you start to feel good and then you fall down and you get back up again and you get a little bit longer this time and boom, that dopamine kicks and you start to feel really good about the progress that you're making. You're so focused and so zoned in on what you're doing, going through it. I was just zoned in. Yeah. And nothing else matters in the world. The only thing that matters is you, the track, and the car, right? And nothing else matters. And so how can we create this in our lives when we're on the doors? Has anyone experienced this on the doors? I know you said, Christian, you have. Dude, I'm on fire today, bro. I'm going to get every customer that talks to me right now. I don't know what it is, but I'm just killing it right now. I'm feeling it. You're just so focused on that one thing that you're doing. And so it's crazy, like Navy SEALs, they actually train for this. Like the only way that you can become a Navy SEAL is if you can get into the flow state. And for them, it's not a singular flow state. What happens is they call it the hive mindset, where your whole group of people, you're all operating as one. And so you have a group flow. And so they train on that like heavily. Like they're constantly, everyone that they're bringing in, they need to make sure that when stakes get high, when pressures get high, do they go into themselves or do they fall into that group flow state? And so that way you're all operating as one. Everything is going smoothly as one. Google too, Google's done a big thing on this too. The way that they hired their CEO is they wanted to see like who was able to create these like feelings of flow within themselves and who knew what they were talking about when they were talking about flow. Like they couldn't describe it. They were trying to describe like what it is and what these people felt, but they wanted to get a CEO who was able to get into that flow state. Because when you're in that flow state, like we said, that's when you operate at your highest. That's your peak performance. You're 500% more efficient than you are normally. And so how do we create this state of flow within ourselves? How do we make sure that we're zoned in, that everything else is gone, and we're at our peak performance, everything is going smoothly? And so this is actually a thing that happens scientifically. I don't know why I put flower. What flow looks like from a physiological perspective. So like what's happening to us? When we're in flow, we're operating at a certain brainwave length. We're also releasing certain chemicals within our body that's allowing us to feel good. So dopamine's released, serotonin's released. Our body is physically changing. Physiologically, it's changing. And so the first thing that happens, our brain right now, it operates in 5 different types of electric patterns. Okay, so we got gamma, we got beta, we got alpha, we got theta, and then delta. Okay? Delta is like when we're sleeping. I know we've talked about this briefly before, but delta is when we get into deep, dreamless sleep. We have a loss of our bodily awareness, and our body's in a repair mode. Theta is like creativity, insight, deep states, dreams, meditation, reduced consciousness. We're not really using our brain too much. Our prefrontal cortex, we're not usually actually like directing our thoughts. It's just happening. And then alpha, we're physically and mentally relaxed. We're just really calm and relaxed. Beta, we're awake, alert, consciousness, thinking, and excitement. This is when we actually get a little bit of cortisol that's released into our blood. When we're in beta, we're getting little drips of like cortisol. What's cortisol? Do you guys know what that is?
It's a stress hormone.
It's our stress hormone, right? And so throughout our day, we're getting little bits of little drips of stress because that's keeping us alert. That's keeping us focused into what we're doing. And so that's our normal waking consciousness. And then gamma, that's our heightened perception. We're learning, problem-solving tasks, cognitive processing. When it comes to flow, we're in 2 of these. Which 2 would you say which would you guys guess that we're in flow? When we're in flow, we're in alpha, we feel very physically and mentally relaxed. It's not a strain. It's not hard, right? It's not a hard thing for us to do. We're just very relaxed, calm, easygoing, and everything's flowing smoothly. And then we're also in theta. We're very creative. Again, we're going based off of our intuition. We're dipping more into the subconscious. When you're in these 2, you're dipping really into the subconscious, to your automatic programming. And so that's why like in that theta moment, you're really in that like just subconscious. You're not really having to do a lot of thinking. It's just coming out of you naturally. So I'm just responding to the customer as I see fit. I'm not really thinking like, dang, what should I say next? How should this go? Where should I go from here? It's just coming out of me. It's just flowing out of me in a natural way. Does that make sense, everyone? So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have any questions, you'd like us to talk about anything, make sure you guys put it in the comments down below. Also, if you guys are interested in a job with us, we have one of the best training programs within the industry. Make sure you go ahead and email us. We can reach out to you guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.